Mel, tell us where you're from and what you do.
So I am a hairdresser that actually volunteers for the last 18 years on the streets of Brisbane City area. I look after about 10 different venues, and I cut hair for our homeless community and people that are struggling and doing it tough. And I also have a podcast called the Hair Therapist Podcast, where I interview a lot of people from the streets, everyday humans, and also the charities that I work alongside with on the streets, like Paul and Bo.
Amazing. I should probably mention that Knucklehead's here too.
Knucklehead.
Delightful.
Bloody hell.
So we are covering my camera. We're at Musgrave Park. So Bo and I will be spending the night here tonight. And so we got here nice and early, and we're doing our interviews from here tonight. And I guess, Mel, I was really keen to get you on when we were doing interviews with a bunch of different people in the sector, because I know you go to a lot of different venues and you've seen a lot of different services, and you've got a real, you've probably seen a lot of, you kind of get an idea of what's out there. So why don't you give us a bit of a run through of the different places that you cut hair at, and maybe some of the different services that you support through your work.
Yeah. So I come to Musgrave Park every month on a Thursday night, and I'm soon to join Paul on his Wednesday nights in the new year. So that'll be exciting. This park is crazy, really. You know, you have so many different kinds of people. I think people sometimes don't realise how easy it is to find yourself sleeping rough. You know, when circumstances change in your life, you might get sick, you might lose a job, have a family breakdown, mental health, you know, come out of prison. And I see all sorts of different people that are literally just trying to get a home. We know there's a huge problem with housing and the waiting list, and we get people all the time that are coming here and just, I guess, really trying to find connection. And so some of them sleep in the park, some of them sleep in cars, others sort of travel around. They might be in the city or over at South Bank in different areas, and they sit down in the chair. And I don't know if most people realise, but when you usually sit in the hair salon chair, you start to talk about everything. So, you know, I hear people that have been sexually assaulted, people that have had severe domestic and family violence, people that are untreated with their mental health and just really struggling, and their families don't support them anymore, which in some cases you understand, but in others you really don't understand why. We have, you know, elderly people sometimes that have lost connection with family, and they are looking for a hug. And, you know, sometimes it's not even really about the haircut, it's about just being seen, heard and held, you know, lots of cuddles. And just working alongside in Musgrave, Paul has been here for a really long time with Northwest Community Group, Four Voices, I work alongside of them, Orange Sky Laundry, Rosie's, who's the pizza guys that come on?
Merciful Servants.
Yes, yep.
They're awesome.
And One Voice. The shower people.
They've got cool vans. Yeah.
They do have cool vans. Like, it's really cool to see that when people are experiencing homelessness, how many charities now, because my family had been homeless when I was younger and I didn't really know what to do, the support that is around. But, you know, what we really need is for people to get on board and find houses. I go to Third Space, I do Mission Australia, 2 men's shelter with Roma House, and Brick Housing. I go to Emmanuel City Mission.
So slow down and let's tell everyone, because a lot of people won't know what any of those places are.
Yeah.
So what was the first one you mentioned?
So Third Space is a drop-in drop-in facility, a day drop-in centre, and they are on Brunswick Street in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane. And basically they serve breakfasts, and you can see doctors and nurses and counsellors and all sorts of things. You should have a look. And I go in there once a month and do haircuts. So I might see people that I've seen at Musgrave Park, and I usually do a 6 to 12 months worth of haircuts, and people will sort of come on different days that I'm there to have them. And then I just watch different kinds of people come through the doors and just trying to find their way back to what normal living is by having housing and a support network around you.
So that's Third Space. What's the other places?
So
that you
Mission
go to?
Australia. So there's 2 men's shelters I go to in Spring Hill. So they kind of have temporary accommodation till they find housing with different, mostly housing or micro projects or different places like that. And the guys actually live there, and then they have a support network around them with counselling and cooking classes, art, therapy, all sorts of different things, just to try and get them off the streets and back into a more permanent housing solution. But they are completely at capacity, which is the hard thing. So
Do
it's
they have
really hard.
names, those places, or they're just Mission Australia buildings?
So Roma House is in
Yeah.
Spring Hill. I think that's on St Paul's Terrace, and then Brick Housing is on Boundary Road in Spring Hill.
So they're both Mission Australia
Yeah.
places.
So when I did my interview with them, they said that you used to be able to just knock at the door and actually go in and get a bed, but
Pre-COVID, yeah.
pre-COVID, and
But now it's by referrals. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, they're full all the time.
All the
Actually,
time.
in the stream last night, I walked past Roma House and showed everyone Roma House, and
Yeah.
I showed everyone Park Hotel as well, because they're
yeah,
right
next
to each
door.
other.
Yeah.
I've never been to Brick Housing though. Is that in Spring Hill as well?
Yeah. So on Boundary Road, which is kind of like a little cut down street from Roma House, and they actually used to have 74 beds, but over COVID, there wasn't enough space, so they actually are now, I think, at 43 or 42, which means they lost a lot of extra beds for people to be able to sleep in, which was a bit disappointing.
Yvonne saying it's awful what's happening in Australia. People struggling, homelessness, food stress. It's heartbreaking the way people are judged and treated. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's too many people that I meet out there on the streets that don't even talk to anyone. No one says hello to them. It's really horrible. And I don't know, if I could pass on anything to people is, when you see someone, say hello. It's really simple. 5
Yeah.
letters.
Yeah, or even just a smile sometimes.
Oh
can be
God,
enough,
a smile is amazing. Yeah.
Instead of judgment.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've gone over those, and you go to
Emmanuel
Emmanuel's
City-
as well.
yeah,
where
Emmanuel City
everyone
Mission.
should know Emmanuel's because we were there today
Yep.
doing our interviews from there.
Yeah, they're amazing. And then I also go to the New Farm Neighbourhood Centre down on Brunswick Street. So a lot of people that might not be able to go to Third Space, or they might be having time out from there, they will usually go down there, and they've got doctors and nurses, a laundry service, food, all sorts of things, counselling and different kinds of therapy through art and things like that. You should have a look.
Yeah, New Farm. What's it called? New Farm Community Centre?
Neighbourhood Centre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
there a couple of times. They're lovely there.
Yeah,
It's a good
they really
facility.
are. They're trying to do a lot of work there. They just need probably a bigger facility to be able to, help more people. And
Yeah.
anyone that wants to sign up with me and come and do more haircuts, please come. I also go to Barry Parade with Valley Hearts. So they do a dinner service and a lunch service through the week, and I think they help out with clothing and food, so you can go do some shopping. You can take a shopping bag there. There's a lot of people there that are really, really struggling, like in all the places, but I just see a little bit of a different space there.
If you were to ballpark, how many haircuts for free do you do a week, you reckon, on average?
Well, it would depend. So in a 2-hour session, I do anywhere from 10 to 20 haircuts. So most weeks I could get up to maybe sometimes 50 or plus haircuts, which is a lot on the body.
Yeah.
But I love being able to support our community and be able to give back through my skills.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a real need for that out there, and I think it is a really important part, having a good haircut. I know when I get my haircut, I always feel a bit better after it.
You get a bit more confidence.
Yeah, you feel a bit more human and a bit more...
I have my regulars that I see each 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then I've got other people that come for the first time, and they're just blown away that someone's out there doing a free haircut. But even more than that, just you get your regulars, and if I'm ever at an event like Signal Flare or what's coming up soon, the one at the Ekka, Homeless Connect,
Homeless Connect.
you know, you get people requesting you, which is like pretty
That's
cool.
And we should mention Signal Flare. They're the guys that do the barbecues for the homeless. They do them every 3 months, and they sort of alternate between Ipswich and Musgrave Park here, right in front of us actually, right on this oval right here. I keep forgetting I'm covering it. Yeah, they're awesome. Signal Flare are good friends of ours. We work with them. So yeah, that's awesome.
Also just signed up with Brisbane Youth Services, which I start on Monday, to help kids that are struggling trying to get into work or just trying to go to school and have a haircut or know how to do a ponytail or a plait. So I'll be starting with them, which Pam...
Yes, you keep yourself busy.
I know. And then I've also got Emma Miller Place that I go to on Roma Street, which also go to with the Hope International.
What do you do on Thursday nights?
On Thursday nights.
I already tried to get Mel to come out to Sutton's Beach.
I wish you were a bit closer and then I'd come out there. It's just like trying to stretch away, trying to get from my work, because I am a full-time hairdresser, podcaster, and about to go into the motivational speaking space to actually speak into this to help our friends on the street and people that are struggling.
Well, I'll tell you what though, if you can motivate another hairdresser to come to our Thursday nights barbecues at Sutton's Beach 6 to 8.
Yeah, that would be magic. We'd love to do that. We'd love to...
Any friends out that way, please help us, because I just can't stretch myself any further.
I think both barbecues, we'd love to have more things like that, like hairdressers.
I mean, the other option is I cut hair. Why are you laughing?
That's not
because today I thought we gave Rob a trial on my hair. That's my husband, who comes out to 2 of the night sessions with me, and he started and I'm like, oh no, this is failing already, and I ended up having to shave my undercut myself.
Wow.
Now he's seen this for 32 years this month, so come on.
So tell us a bit about your podcast, for anyone who doesn't know, which is a shame, because you pretty much do what we're trying to do this weekend, but you do it every week, right? You talk to all different service providers. And, tell us a few of the people that you've spoken to. What's your most memorable ones?
Oh gosh, so many. I think when people are really vulnerable and they come on and share about the abuse that has been done to them as a child, sexual abuse, violence in the household. I've had a few women where, you're just hearing their story and wondering how their parents allowed them to be treated, or the things that their parents did to them. And the trajectory of their life changed. So addiction, self-harm, homelessness, family breakdown, allowing themselves to continually be abused because that's the norm for them. And you see this all the time, both of you, where it just becomes acceptance. And when you don't have self-worth because you keep getting beaten down, it's really, really hard for people to understand this. But the reason I started my podcast, the Hair Therapist Podcast, was to give people a voice that didn't have one. And I didn't really think that people would kind of talk to me about the things they do, but a lot of people have actually come out and said things that even their families haven't. And I've been so touched by how they've trusted me and told their stories. And you guys, like Bo, even your story, like, just blew me away, where you were to where you're at now and the difference you make. And even you, Paul, like, I don't know how you sleep or have a full-time job. Like, bloody hell.
Because both of us, Bo and I, have been on an episode of your show, and I think that's the cool thing about yours is you have a mix of service providers that speak about what they do in the sector and what they see, but also people with lived experience. And
absolutely. Well, you guys teach me. Like, I was very naive when I first went in, thinking what I'd been told from the news, like, this is the way it is. But when you go on outreach and then you do a podcast and you're really getting down to what's going on for people, I think you are totally blown away. I thought there was so much funding and there's not. I didn't realise how many homeless people there were. I didn't realise what was going on, and now I look at it differently. I also worked in the prison system helping out support a rehabilitation program, and that changed how I looked at things. So I try and get people that have been in prison and incarcerated to come on there, because sometimes they're let out of prison with no support network at all, and they'll come up for a haircut and go, where do I go to stay? And I've given Paul's number out so many times, but man,
thanks for that.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's dire out there, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
just no options. There's you kind of you get a bit desensitized to it at the end of the day. Sometimes you have to just be like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything, which
No.
sucks. Like,
Oh, you feel like a shitbag, but it's not us.
No.
It's the systems, you know. And I think all this housing and this, I have a lot of people that come on that are homeless or trying to get tiny homes through. And you know, Helen from the Sunshine Coast, you guys have been doing some stuff with her, and she's referred on to people. And there's so many things that people have got really good initiative to do things. Also, Helen's Haven out at Goodna, you know, with their what's their
the sleep
the
pods.
pods, pods, and you know, just kind of push down and not utilize sometimes, and you think, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, bureaucracy gone mad.
It
There's always a
has.
million reasons not to do something, but
Absolutely.
we need to do something. We got to try something.
Yeah. But I think, podcasts, I think just everybody that comes on has a different story, and I can't really say that I have favourites. I'm just honoured to be a person that people trust their story with, and I want more followers, a movement that for all of us that can show you how much when we all come together that we can change things and make things better for the people out here. But without funding for these guys, you guys have got to get on and donate tonight. Like, this is epic what they're doing. They're trying to help people through the worst moments of their lives, their lowest point, and only with your support and help can they actually do that.
Bo, got any questions?
So, do you ever feel unsafe when you come into these areas?
I'm going to say no. I'm a bit probably complacent. I grew up in a lot of violence as a kid and lived a little bit in housing commission area. So I often say to people, should I be more worried or whatever? But I do threaten it. I won't be back for doing a haircut if anything goes wrong. But no, there's no time that I've ever felt unsafe. And I think a lot of guys, which is super cool, will come up to me, and if they see something getting unsettled in a park and go, Mel, just want to let you know down the other end of the park there's something going on. And I'm not afraid to sort of stand up. I had a little esche, I think it was at Roma Street recently, and a African man that had come from a war-torn country, and this 12-year-old kid was going up against him, and I said, stop that right now. I'm not doing any more haircuts unless you behave yourselves. And they just looked at me. They could have killed me probably. I was just like, what the hell? So no, I don't. But you guys see more than me because you're out on the daily, or do you know what I mean? You guys get to really see the other side of things.
I think we always try to highlight, that, like even as we sit here in these dangerous encampments, we've got people with dogs walking, we've got people walking their dogs, we've got
kids on bikes,
people over playing playing basketball, we got kids on the things, and look, we're not going to sit here and say there's never any problems. In fact, there was somebody having a fight up on the top area before, but these are people with complex issues, and they're not getting the support that they need, but they very rarely attack people not known to them. It's usually issues within their circles, and it really is something that we need to challenge continually, is that notion of dangerous encampments, which is the rhetoric that we keep getting from the council and their justification for pulling down these tents, when I'm all for pulling down tents if you've got somewhere for them to go.
100%.
I'd love to see these tents gone. But
I also think too, like, we got to remember that arguing and fighting between individuals often goes on behind
exactly.
Four walls,
your family.
Four walls in the door, and out here these people don't have the luxury of having that, and when they're in a public space it becomes public viewing.
Yeah.
But this is probably happening every third or fourth house down your street.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're probably
unseen,
on there.
you know what I mean? So I see an argument and I go, man, it's a shame it's in the public space, but where else have these people got to go?
Yeah.
So you've talked to a lot of people, Mel. What do you think? How do we solve homelessness?
Oh God, build more housing. I don't know why we're not, but I think also there's a lot of abandoned buildings throughout. I still don't know why we didn't use Pinkenbar and Well Camp. It's gone to something else now, but I really think instead of having these short-term hotels, which are costing a lot of money. I've actually got a few clients that own hotels, and the cleanup bill after people have been in there is epic. And I get it. Like I talk to people where they say, Mel, I'm sick of going into a hotel for 3 days. You know, you have this luxury of beds. Some of them don't even sleep in beds because they're not used to it. And then all of a sudden you've got all this nice surroundings, and then the next minute you're put back out on the streets again. And you wonder why people have got mental health, their energy's heightened, you know, they're really struggling mentally, they're looking for drugs. You know, if they weren't on drugs, they are on drugs or alcohol. And I think you have to start building more housing or turn some of these things. Like, there was a thing that a client sent to me, actually a guest from my podcast, in Switzerland, where they've almost eradicated housing. And I'm like, why can't we look at some of this instead of doing short-term stuff, start making it long-term so people can feel safe, people can start getting their lives together? Because if you don't have a home, you will never feel secure, safe, like you belong somewhere to a family. I don't know, it's horrific. What do you guys think? Tell me.
Yeah, well, I think you've touched on a really excellent point, and that's the most frustrating thing, is that it's not like we don't know the answer. That the answers have been tried overseas and they've worked, and there's data, and there's figures, and there's all sorts of things about this. And I'm sure we'll be touching on this subject with Karen from Micah as well, because
can't wait to see that. Yeah,
she's a huge supporter of a housing first model. That's her shtick. And you know, Micah is heavily involved in Common Ground, which is what I believe to be the biggest single thing we could do to solve homelessness.
Absolutely.
Is to get another 10, 15 common grounds in Brisbane, or brick housing, or probably not Roma House, but brick housing. Yeah, I think those are the things that we need to be looking at. And yeah, it's but you're right. And why aren't they doing it? The stats say it.
Well, if the taxpayers knew how much money was going on temporary solutions and the cleanups, they would probably
to do the solution that we know works and is actually more humane as well. So there's just so many reasons to do it. What's the reason we don't do it? I still don't understand.
No, I don't either.
I need
tiny homes is another one. Like, lots of people trying to let people come onto their properties and then being blocked by council, and it's like, why? I don't actually understand. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, the restrictions on tiny homes is probably outdated, and you know, it's a different world now since COVID, and it's very slow to change. The regulations are all still the same, and
I'd love for the politicians to take away the camera and their people around them and just come out to outreach, and I know some of them do, but actually literally come and chat to the people and hear what we hear, their stories about why they're here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once you start to hear those stories, man, you change your mind when you see a 13-year-old sleeping in a tent like I saw the other night, or a mum that's just had a preemie baby and is out here, and you know, like, there's just so many stories. Like I said, people walk out of prison and no wonder they go back in. I had a mum the other day, I was cutting hair at Emmanuel City Mission, and literally said she just wanted to go back to prison because it was too hard out here. She's living in Musgrove Park, and you know, all I could do was hold her. I didn't want to let her go.
And actually, Musgrave Park's probably in the worst condition I've seen it in for a while. There is a lot of rubbish, and there's a lot of issues here, but that's a result of two things. One is, of course, services aren't really supporting these guys, and there's nowhere, and they've been here for a long time now. Yeah. And also, the council's not coming through and cleaning like they used to, and you know, they kind of deliberately leave the rubbish lying around. They want people to see the rubbish. They want people to feel like
so it looks like
messy.
A problem.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got a couple of comments. Alexandra said, "I love a good podcast. I'm definitely going to check yours out." What's it called again?
The Hair Therapist Podcast.
We'll put a link on our Facebook page as well. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your work. I'm sad every day and worry I am next paying $6.30 a week. I don't know what is next. Scared.
So sorry you're going through that.
The politicians just don't care unless you're putting money into their pockets. Yeah, they do take their pay. They don't seem to want to come up with solutions. That's the problem.
No, definitely not.
Major reforms in Department of Health mental health, disability, education, housing, they need to work together rather than footballing responsibilities to each other. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the biggest issues we have in this sector, though, is the silo nature of the services. So when I say siloed, it's that, that pillar that it's just, okay, I'm a charity and I do this, and then this charity over here does this, and mental health does that, but I can't help you with your housing, so you've got to go over there. And so they don't have this wraparound support aspect.
Which is where we see people fail more in the community. And that's why homelessness grows, because they don't have that. But some of the places I go to in my shelters, if people don't have furniture, if they don't have food, all these sorts of different things, mental health support, NDIS, all these things, all of a sudden they start to fail. And then they look like they're the ones that have failed, but it's our systems that are failing them.
Well, that's what the system's excellent at making it look like it's them that's failing, right? That we're putting the blame on them. And, that's the kind of rhetoric you see from people that aren't compassionate. Oh, why don't they just get a job? Why don't they just do this? Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
But if it was that simple, they would be doing it.
Look, I remember when my family started with addiction, and I thought to myself, because I was so young, I'll just get them a job, I'll put them into my world. And it doesn't work. You can't make someone conform to your way. You have to work with them, work alongside them, make them feel seen and heard and valued. And unless you do that, we make them fail again.
And that's the problem with this. That's, in a nutshell, the problem is that it lacks the ability to be nuanced to the person's needs.
Yeah.
It has a certain way that it does it, and if you don't fit in that, then you fall through, and that's the people that we have here.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't fit in that system.
No. What do they say? People don't come to you with one problem. They come to you with a list, and then you've got to sort of work out how you're going to get through all this stuff for them. And what you guys do, I admire you so much. I wish I had the energy to do what you guys did, but my haircuts
I was going to say, what are you talking about? You're doing amazing stuff.
I am, but you always want to do more. I just wish I had like a bloody Wonder Woman cape that actually took me to fly, and then I could just get around to everybody. I was saying to the guys in the park at some of the tents before, I'm like, how you going? And of course they're going shit because they're living in a park, but and I said, if I had a magic wand, man, none of you would be in a tent. You'd all be in a nice home somewhere and feeling the love from your support system around you.
And that's why Bo and I are so passionate about the expansion of the units that we're doing.
God, and now you've talked about that to these guys, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we've got 3 people in units. We've got someone in a caravan. Someone donated us a caravan.
I saw that. How cool is that?
Which is amazing. And so, and the thing with that is too, is we are putting people that we've got a relationship. We know them. We've talked to them for weeks. We've built up a trusting relationship. They know what's expected of them. We know what we're getting into, and so we can work together. And look, it doesn't always work out, and it hasn't been 100% success rate, but we have had.
I don't think anything has 100% success rate, even if you rent a place without having.
I think you also got to add too. You've got about Scott. That's an additional one. We've got Scott in a motel as well.
Yes, we've got Scott in a motel. We've got to work out what we're going to do long term with him.
Yeah.
Did you know about Scott?
This
Scott
is
was
the
in the
gentleman
walker.
in here. Yeah.
So we were sure that he was going to die in that park, and we weren't going to let it happen. And services were saying
3 people over the last week or so, haven't you, that have lost their lives out?
Yeah, exactly.
Out
and we were worried that we were looking at the 4th,
Yeah.
and so we weren't going to have it. And services weren't able. He doesn't want to go into a hotel. Well, when I asked him, he wanted to go in.
Of course.
And so, the thing that was hard for me to fathom was after I did put them into a hotel, one of the nurses that works at one of the services said that I should have left him in the park, and that I made a mistake putting him into a hotel because they knew where he was when he was at the park, and the public could call and tell them if he'd fallen over and stuff, but now they couldn't. And I said to her, I just couldn't understand that logic. I couldn't understand that that's like someone that's so ingrained in the system. But also it's like, it's traumatic for people seeing that. Like, nobody wants to live in an area and
especially
see
an
someone like that.
It's anyone,
exactly.
But an elderly person, my goodness.
So who are you to say that, you're okay with the public having to call you guys to say he's fallen over and hurt himself? Like, he literally had his head stomped 2 days before we put him in a hotel. So
that's your granddad or your dad out there, or your great-granddad.
Exactly.
Like, protect our community.
it's pretty disappointing sometimes to see the system letting people down, but we're in a fortunate position where we have so much support from the community that we are able to step up sometimes.
You just need to clone yourself so you can take all the calls.
Yeah, and we just need
and be home to see your family occasionally.
And we need to win the lotto as well. But yeah, I think that wraps it up nicely.
Yeah, how was your sleep out last night?
Terrible.
Yeah, but I did 2 sleep outs this year. One for base services out at Toowoomba, which was horrific, good, but horrific. And then one for the Live Like Her challenge. And what you guys are doing, I want to join these guys next year to do their one if they
We'll see if we can work out how to get more people involved next year. I think this will be an annual thing for sure.
Can I just say there's lots of ants around here, so
Definitely.
Can you please be careful tonight that you don't wake up tomorrow fully ant?
It's too late. I got annihilated by mosquitoes last night after we got told to move on from the front of City Hall. Paul and I ended up down at the Botanical Gardens, and I thought, I don't really want to be moved on again. I'm just going to sort of go in amongst these bushes, and we were woken up by curlews, kingfishers, toads, possums, ants, mosquitoes,
the curlews were so loud.
I know, I've slept in the park there a few times, and oh my god, it's like screaming. You wake up and you're like, if you
get... And the kookaburras and
the road traffic,
possums.
like even just the road traffic. I don't know how anyone gets any sleep around here.
No.
Yeah, because we went near the fountains because the water will be nice, but no.
We're hoping for a bit of white noise, but it didn't quite work out.
No.
I had white noise. It was your snoring.
That's free charge.
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, sometimes when I do my sleep outs, that's what makes me not sleep as well as the snoring.
Yeah, plenty of snoring. Well, thank you so much, Mel. Thank you for everything you do for the community. It is noticed. I was going to say it isn't not noticed, but it is noticed, and we appreciate you. And
Can I just thank you guys as well? Like, absolutely love the work you guys do. These guys are bloody legends, and feel a bit emotional and teary about all the work they do. And I got invited to be here because, we need more people like this in the world to be able to give back. So thank you guys for everything that you do. And I know sometimes you hear it, but you don't. But the work you do is freaking epic.
Thank you. It's a team effort, and even if we don't do the same
just take the thanks. I feel like you're thanking everybody else.
Well, it's a team effort because even if we're not at the same event as you, we're surrounding these people with love, and that's why I want to empower people to do their own thing. And I'm so passionate about grassroots and feeling like Bo and I say, one person can make a huge difference. And if it's something that you want to do it. Because,
absolutely.
Like I was just a guy who just started taking clothes out, and now look where we are 2.5 years later.
Can't even believe it. And you?
I was just a crackhead.
He was driving along, saw some homeless people, right?
I was a homeless crackhead. 2 years and I think it's 11 days ago.
So proud of you. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Mel.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
See you guys.
Oh God. Fucking hell.